Now recording.
Now recording.
This is why we appreciate Yoba Bob more than Bubba Boy.
It
X.
is.
Yeah. Bubba Boy never talks to us.
All right, you guys ready?
Yes.
Hey, party people! Welcome back. This is going to be episode 10B. If you're not already, we are on social media. You can go and follow us there on Twitter, on Instagram. If you prefer to listen to us on YouTube, you can subscribe to us on that. We just went through a big effort to get us caught up on that. It's a little bit tricky to fit in our schedule, but Jimmy did it. And so if you want, follow us on any of those. And what's the other one that we always plug? Discord. If you want to come hang out with us, get to know the members of the Split Party podcast, ask us some questions, give us some feedback, join our Discord. All the links to everything that I just mentioned are going to be down low or in the description of this podcast or video, depending on where you're watching it.
We're not that interesting, but check it out anyway.
Okay. I'm going to edit that out.
Why, dude? That's organic.
Check us out on Discord.
And don't forget, never split the crust.
Check us out on the code. You post
I'm
a
already
little.
going to hate editing this.
If you like Discord, that's great. Don't join ours. We hate you.
But like always, we're going to get into the recap, and then we're going to get into just kind of like a brief sort of where we left off for the players. Then it's all them. And I was telling them before we started recording this session that I can see this session going a couple different ways, and I'm not actually sure which one to expect. So preparation for this one was a little bit hectic, but we'll see. Anyway, Tessur, 36th of Stivos, 301st year of Dark Reign. Morning time, 2 nights before Dark Reign. The news spread amongst the clan members that Thorgrim died a hero, but Mother Ishka knew the truth. Gabriel had told her himself. And when their meeting concluded with all the other clan leaders, they came to the agreement that they'd travel south with Gabriel and Rubin while Tamacti flew north to the boats. What Tamacti arrived to was something he hadn't thought could happen. Vasily, now called by his first name Baldwin, sat upon one of the slaves, his new throne, in the back room below deck where the party had called home for the last 2 weeks or so. His now armored and armed followers had rid the ships of the clans whom were not willing to free the slaves. While Tamacti battled with that sharp and sudden news, Gabriel and Rubin each battled with their own oddities. Gabriel spoke to the beast within him. It had claimed that Gabriel's mentor was not dead. No, the ghost of Stillborn would never harm one of his own. And at the same time that was going on, Rubin was parting ways with Starsinker. It had turned into cold and dull, much like the cold iron, the bane of demons. There was irony to be had in that. But as Rubin was about to leave, a guest had arrived to speak with him. Beleth, whom attempted none other than to claim a new follower, and it hadn't worked on Rubin. Not yet. So they traveled south for a few days, and at the morning time, they saw the ships on the horizon. And that's when Tamacti arrived. So it is the morning of the 36th. You guys have been traveling for a few days. Tamacti was given the means to represent each clan, including the White Rabbit's Foot that Mother Ishka said had previously belonged to Thorgrim. And Lanya, while you were speaking to her on the ship Tamacti, explained that Baldwin had used the kind of murders as sacrifices to get gifts from Tormach, which he gave to some of the slaves, but she claimed that she herself was not faithful to Tormach, and only that it was Baldwin. And so you left the boat early in the morning to fly to shore, about, I believe it was an hour before the boats were meant to land. And another little tidbit, a little detail, was that before you left, Clan Volgar's kind of a raiding party leader claimed that they would let the slaves go free if Morgon was left there where the boats were abandoned without boats to sail back north. And of course, you arriving found out that all of their guards that were there to guard the slaves were murdered.
Quite brutally.
Yeah.
A blessing in disguise, that slave rebellion, I think.
We'll see. So Tamacti, you just landed. There's kind of like a plume of dust and dirt that goes up around you. The sun is just rising on the horizon, and that's something that's new to Astoya, and so all the plants are like soaking up all of the light that they can, and they're already starting to look green again. Whereas before they were like dull green or like a brownish color, like very dead. You had called for the clan leaders, I believe, and Gabriel and Rubin, or maybe they were nearby.
I think I just sort of landed in the middle of the camp.
Yeah.
And he called for the leaders. I remember that.
He did call for the leaders.
He's like, as he landed next to
We
people, he's
hadn't
like,
reached him
yo,
yet,
get
though.
important people. I'm like, not you. And that was that, I think.
that means you guys too.
I know.
Leaders? Oh, okay.
Hell no.
I see. You were.
That means not you.
Yeah, it means not you, as in like talking to the random guy.
Yeah, the
you
random
landed
people. Yeah. He just points to the closest guy to him. That means not you. Like, ah, shit.
Fuck!
He like perked up for a moment, then he like kind of slumped over and turned around.
Get the hell out of here!
Coupled off. No, so you land, and there's like that dirt kind of plumes up around you as you like take a couple steps to slow down, or however you want to land, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And a couple of the people that land, or that you land near, sort of take a double take and start walking and then jogging and move off towards wherever their leaders are likely at.
Mm-hmm. And then I'm gonna then survey for Gabriel and Rubin to see if they're nearby.
I'll walk over, I guess, having seen him land. You know, it's not really
I
that
think
hard to
we
miss.
spotted the fucking F-15 fly in, so
Yeah.
we're gonna stand up and head over.
250 people is not honestly a whole lot. I don't think it's not like you guys are spread out over like a mile or anything like that. Everyone can
Sure
see
as shit
Tamacti
ain't an
flying
army.
in. Yeah. And so Tamacti flies in, and you guys probably notice it right away. And you said you're already walking towards
Yes.
Gabriel. What about Rubin?
No, he was. I remember that they were next to each other,
Mhm.
so
They're
he
both
would
just moving.
he'd just be walking behind Gabriel
Okay.
towards Tamacti.
Okay. It's not long, and you guys arrive. There's sort of kind of like a loosely formed circle around where people are like whispering, watching Tamacti, and like just talking quietly to each other. And some others are like glancing over towards the horizon and squinting where they can see the boats just barely. And so
I give everybody like reassuring smiles and stuff. But then when I like turn towards Gabriel and Rubin, they would see that my face is fairly serious.
Catching on that this is probably a, fuck moment. I'm gonna kind of walk close to Tamacti so you can whisper to me what's going on. I lean a bit. What has happened?
I look around to see the crowd of people is sort of starting to gather. Walk with me.
I nod. No, I will do so.
and people would part if you guys are like walking.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, it's a loosely formed circle around you guys, but they're not like a brick wall, and they're not assholes, so they're just out of the way.
You guys sort of flank me on either side.
Yeah.
All right. Tamakti's gonna unfurl his wings and sort of wrap them around us so that we kind of
I
have
feel
like our
slightly
little,
uncomfortable.
Yeah.
own little shell.
Yeah, Rubin like looks at the fucking wing hovering over his shoulder. And,
Yeah. Our worst fears came to fruition. Vasily seemingly was either taught fully or managed to figure out the rest on his own. That incantation your father, I look over at Rubin, was carving on the boat. All but the token force of the Northmen were sacrificed to Tormach. The slaves have revolted. They now control all the ships. I believe that Vasily is the only one within direct contact with Tormach, and I think that we may have a chance of salvaging this whole thing if we are upfront with the clan leaders. The three of us go onto those ships as soon as they are landed, and we destroy Vasily. He is the one responsible for this, not the slaves.
I rub my forehead the hardest. Like, ugh.
and
Why
you know,
does everything always has to go wrong?
Well, apparently our friend Rubin here, I sort of tighten my wing a little bit to like bring him closer to me.
This.
While the rest of us were busy preparing for the journey, Rubin here saw fit to educate a bunch of battered and beaten people on the intricacies of his particular form of religion. One that is well regarded for warping the weak-minded. But that's all right.
Great.
We're past that now.
He's clearly not past that.
I turned to look at Rubin. Aren't
He's-
we, Rubin?
He's dead silent. He's like looking at the ground, you know. Clearly guilty as charged.
No more demons, I trust.
Yes.
I don't expect you to switch sides, so to speak. It would be far too much to ask for you to throw away everything you've known for your entire life for Moriel, for instance. But I would greatly appreciate it if you at least considered it.
Yes, it's something that we need to talk about later, but that's not important now.
Indeed. What is important, however, is, like I said, trying to salvage this. The ringleaders of this revolt, aside from Vasily, are a few that I became quite close with, whose names I had written down on a notepad so I wouldn't forget them, but I can't find it anymore.
Lanya, Sasha, and Malfoy.
Yes, Lanya, Sasha, and Belfour. My three friends. They bear the armor, or some armor rather, that was a gift, probably from Tormach to Vasily and then down to them. I do not think they owe any allegiance to Tormach nor to Vasily. If anything, I believe that their allegiance is to me. It seems that despite everything that has happened, they still look upon what I did for them very favorably, which is why I think that we might be able to take control of this situation if we remove the main problematic actor, so to speak. That being that filthy fucking degenerate doll.
Alright. Well, we should gather their leaders then. And
Indeed.
hopefully we'll see this as you have presented it, and not as a way to justify themselves hating their slaves.
You feel a tap
Which
on
at this
your
point they
wing.
have a reason to.
You feel a tap on your wing, Tamacti, on your right wing.
I sort of raise it up a little bit so I can.
Yes, sir?
Yeah.
You see Felden, the leader of Rune, their little raiding force, and behind him are a couple of the other leaders, just two of them, so a total of 3.
Hello.
Is this a conversation that we're not meant to be here for?
Oh no, I just wanted
We were
to
done.
confer with my 2 friends here so we could present a united front. I find it's always best to make sure messaging is unified.
He squints at you skeptically. Right. So then, what is it? What do you have for us?
It's best if this news is shared with everyone. I'd look around. Where are the other clan leaders?
It's he's looking around too, and the other leaders are looking around, and one of them raises up an arm to point like off to your left. There they are. They're coming now.
Good.
And so it's just a matter of maybe half a minute before everyone is there around you. The leaders of Volgar, Seer, Rune, Mithra, and Limgri. Morgang, of course, is not there. Duh.
Mm-hmm.
Is Mother Ishka there?
Not yet.
Okay.
She is old.
Do you wait for her?
Yes. Of
Okay.
course.
She arrives in the next 2 minutes or so.
Oh.
She comes out from between a couple of the others that are gathered. Like this loose circle has been kind of following you a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
and so the gap between you guys and the loose circle is maybe about 20-30 feet. So if you're talking quietly, then people can't really hear you, especially since it's like an ocean of people talking right now. But they are seeing that everyone's gathering, and so it's kind of a red flag almost, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And Mother Ishka comes out with Weasel, kind of like, and she's like holding the crook of his elbow.
I nod to them both. Then I raise my voice to sort of address the crowd. Everyone, please. We need privacy for this. You have trusted your clan leaders thus far. Trust them one more time. We will get to answering your questions, which I'm sure you have soon.
And it's likely that this kind of hodgepodge of people around you guys is a mixture of all the 5 clans, and so So their leaders kind of like look for somebody that they recognize and just kind of like raise their hand and like give it a couple fanning motions, and they all do their own sort of gesture. But then you hear these people that they've signaled to like they start piping up and they're like, all right, disperse, and everyone kind of starts going back to what they were doing, like their little tents that they have set up and eating breakfast and cooking and sharpening their weapons and just doing whatever they have to do, cleaning their hair in the water. Probably a lot of them are actually like bathing and stuff like that. It's been a few days.
Yeah, I bet. And the salt water, nice.
Yeah.
Well, everyone, I suppose I will get right into it. The good news is this. There are no ships, nor more gong sailors to sail them, waiting for the clan to arrive to take back north.
A couple of them give you kind of like gentle smiles, and everyone kind of like nods and looks between each other like, all right, this is a victory. What's next? Let's hear it.
The bad news is this, however. The doll, which some of you are likely familiar with, Vasily. I sort of turn and look to Mother Ishka for like acknowledgement.
Her and Weasel kind of look between each other a bit like unsure of what you're about to say, but they both acknowledge that they know Vasily.
Is in fact not a doll at all, but a creature of the Fae known as a Wacial kind, an amalgamation of wood and magic made to look like a child. It does not have the mind or temperament of one, however. This creature communed with Tormach.
Limgree's leader kind of like reaches a hand up to their neck where they hold on to a holy symbol from one of the divines.
And in doing so, struck a bargain in return for something. I can only assume power, probably over the dominion of people's minds. He sacrificed all but a token force of Northmen to Tormach, carving symbols upon them and casting their bodies into the ocean.
There's a gentle gasp that goes up from both Volgar's leader as he like crosses his arms slowly, and Seer's leader as well, as Seer's leader kind of like drums their fingertips along like the sides of their legs. Both of them seem anxious about this news.
There are now, I estimate, anywhere from...
Hey, Prowler, how many Northmen did I see left alive on those boats?
Let's see. We'll say there are about 12 ships, about 20 slaves underneath each one. Probably about 220, give or take a couple dozen.
220 slaves or Northmen?
Oh, slaves. Sorry, Northmen. It's just the ones from the clans that did release their slaves, so that would be probably like a dozen.
Okay. I estimate there are about a dozen Northmen still alive. They are the ones, in essence, captaining these ships right now. The slaves, the former slaves, I should say, now have control of the boats. As I said, Vasily is behind this. He used them like pawns, like chips on a board. Their allegiance is not to him, however. I have been assured of this by one of the people who I was well acquainted with during the travel here, named Lania. She is one of the three, I believe, lieutenants, so to speak, of this new group of people. And they were more than willing to sail down here because I asked them to. However, Vasily stands in the way of our goal. He must be stopped. He must be made to pay for what he has done. What I propose is this. Myself and my two companions here, as well as perhaps another small strike team, will head out to the boat on which Vasily is holding court, I say sort of scornfully.
Yeah.
We will deal with him, and then we will retake possession of the boats. But know this, there will be no more slaves. It is too far gone for that. The only way it would happen was through bloodshed and subjugation. This cannot happen.
We have already lost too much.
I know this is a bitter poultice to swallow, because pills don't exist yet.
Oh.
However, it is one that I must ask you to swallow, and you in turn must ask your clans members to swallow. I know you all had friends, perhaps even loved ones, on those boats, and I weep for the loss of life, believe me. No one is more keenly aware of that blood sacrifice and what it means for the world than myself. Sort of gesture to my wings. However, there is far more at stake, the stake of the entire world.
They kind of go through a bit of quiet contemplation, looking between the three of you guys, and Mother Ishka is there as well. Weasel raises a hand. I can get us in there. The leaders kind of like look to Weasel.
I nod. Then you will come with us.
Vulgar's leader raises a hand up from his kind of crossed arm stance.
I nod in his direction. So, like, yeah, go ahead.
We do not speak for the whole clans. I'm only in charge of those with me on the raid. But I think that I speak for Steer as well when I say that this voyage has taught us a few things that we may have forgotten from the past. And that, though useful, he kind of says with the raise of one eyebrow and holds his head to the side, slaves are not necessary. And that I, for one, will make my voice heard back in the north when speaking of the leader of the clan.
Of course, we are only asking you to tame this raiding party and not your entire clans. We will deal with these politics back in the north when we are done.
Then this is something that, when speaking of the raiding party, that I can agree to.
I kind of shoot a glance to all the others.
A couple of them had already openly sort of, like, Limgree doesn't really have slaves.
Yeah.
Other than, like, on the ships, of course, and Mithra was pretty good about...
Yeah, the Mithra was
leaving
already
them
cool
behind.
with me.
Yeah, and so I think that everyone kind of just nods along hearing this and come to, like, a rough agreement, you know? Nothing said out loud.
Yeah.
But you get the idea that they're on board.
I nod to Tamacti.
There is one last thing before we prepare our plan. Let it not be said that Tamacti is not a man of his word. Then he unshoulders his pack and pulls out all of their various clan trinkets and returns, saving the white rabbit's foot for last, and walking up to Mother Ishka and sort of placing it in her palm personally.
She goes to reach out for it, like putting her palm out with kind of both hands, and as you're holding on to it, she gently sort of puts her hands around yours and closes your hand around the rabbit's foot. No, that's fine, Tamacti. I think that it should belong to someone else now.
I nod. Very
Make
well.
sure you put that in your inventory.
Damn, bro. You're the leader of the traders. For now.
I wouldn't.
He just
Yeah,
I don't think a rabbit's foot.
That's right.
I don't think that that's what that represents, but
I know. I'm
symbol of my supremacy.
Unlimited power.
But yeah, so she kind of closes her hands around yours, closing yours in turn around this rabbit's foot.
I nod to her. Very well. I will hang on to this then. Then Tamacti will tuck it into one of the breast pockets on his tunic.
The leader of Rune looks out over the horizon, kind of like squinting and craning his neck to see through the crowd of people. They have 30 minutes before they land, give or take. You should get ready.
Prepare your men. We will be done soon.
Weasel, how are you going to get us on the boat?
He kind of looks at you for a moment, and he brings a hand up and he taps his head like right above his eyebrow, you know, kind of in a gesture. Doesn't really say anything else.
If there's one thing is I've learned to trust Weasel.
All right. Very well then.
You may go back to your people and get them ready. to board. We will deal with this demon.
Make one thing very clear to all of them. Only non-lethal force is to be used against any but the demon that rise up in defense.
Unless their own lives are at stake. If they are about to be killed by some crazed innocent or whatever, it is better that that person dies than themselves. But if they are unarmed and unarmored, try not to kill them.
We will spread the word. Vulgar's leader kind of like speaks up, trying to speak for everyone else, and they kind of give like half nods or like just partial nods, not full committed nods. But
Thank you.
Weasel pipes up just a little bit. I'll need to go get someone. Where should I find you?
Find us on the shore there. And I just kind of point in the general direction of like where the ships are going to land.
Then we'll be there.
I nod.
The leaders disperse and they start to like find members of their clan that they recognize and give them the short and skinny. It looks like that because they don't spend very long talking to them before they kind of go off and start talking to somebody else within the clan, and it's like just a chain reaction where one person tells one, and then now there's 2 people telling 2 more, and then there's 4 people telling 4 more, and so word spreads pretty quickly, and but they all, some of them you notice, make an insight for me, somebody.
Sure, I'll make an insight. I'm decent at those.
I'm pretty good too.
As I roll a 12.
Damn.
I think I didn't set a high DC for this, so it's not a problem.
Cash money.
But I think that it's very clear that you see some of these people, as they're dispersing and telling others about this, that they very pointedly skip past people that are not in their clan. And so, like, one person might tell another, and instead of telling the person that's 5 feet away from them, they go past them to tell the person that's 20 feet away from them. So likely that they're only telling people that are within their clan something.
Let me see.
There will be blood in this. Some are going to be pissed off, you know. Can't expect everyone to keep a cool head. If I've learned anything from this world, is that something can go wrong, it will.
Facts.
Oh well, we'll deal with that after, but now we need to kill ourselves a Weshel kind.
Very true.
Still haven't met this puppet. You guys kept raving on about him, and Gabriel's like, I don't know who the fuck you're talking about. Actually, I did see him.
yeah.
I saw when he's like, I come back, and then he just jumped out the window. That's literally the only time I saw him.
That is also, I think, the only time I saw him as well. it's only Tamacti that's been meeting
Really
with
interacting
this
with-
fucking soul,
This guy's like my fucking
You're
main
our
antagonist.
nemesis.
I come back.
I come back.
He's also the one that saw him carving shit on the boats, man. Maybe
Yep.
it's all just in Tamakti's head.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe so. Maybe Tamacti's schizophrenic.
I'm the one that killed the clans.
So Weasel jogs off and goes off to find somebody in particular in the crowd. Unless you trail him with your eyes,
Nope.
you probably don't spot him. But if you guys don't do anything else, and you're welcome to, you have however long you want to take to do whatever. But he would meet you guys back at the shoreline within the next 5 minutes, meaning that you guys have about 25 minutes before the boat's land.
Good. I'll head to the shore immediately, pretty much. Just gonna walk off on my own.
Okay.
Rubin is also going to walk off to the shore where the kind of water meets the sand, or whatever the fuck is here. Dirt? I don't know. This is an actual
Probably rocks, I imagine.
rocks.
Seems like a very rocky terrain where we're at.
Meets the rocks. He's going to stand on the rocks.
Rocks and mud that has now been like cracking and turning into dirt again because how when the sun starts drying out mud and it gets like all cracky looking, and it's like
Oh
that.
yeah, I forgot. This place hasn't seen like sunlight, like drying effects in a long time.
Yeah.
And so sorry, I might have missed it. Does Tamacti do anything?
No, he's just gonna make his way down to the shoreline.
Okay.
Just kind of mentally preparing himself for smashing this doll to kindling.
Oh jeez. And so it's like I said, only about 3 minutes before Weasel shows up, and he shows up with a member from clearly a different clan. They kind of have like a small book in a little like book kind of pocket on their belt. I don't know how else to describe it, I guess. And they're wearing like furs and a woven kind of sheep's wool hood. They have like kind of graying, small, short beard. It's like covers their whole jawline, their mouth, everything like that. But it's maybe only about an inch long. They keep it pretty kempt. And
Is this one of the wizards that ice surfed their way up onto the ship?
that it is.
Ah,
These your boys?
no. But remember when the big ass serpent attacked the two dudes that were on the bridge and like almost died?
Yeah, the wizards.
Yeah. It's one of them.
Oh shit, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
One of the Chads.
I think that it's best that we just leave it as the 5 of us if we're meant to be a quote unquote, like he does kind of like the air quotes, small strike force. So I brought just this one. He'll be helping us get out to the boats and hopefully unnoticed to some degree.
Good. We should not need much more to destroy whatever he is. We have taken worse.
Which boat is he on?
The one Thorgrim captained. Unless I
Is it the
look,
serpent?
I look towards Tamacti to correct me if I'm wrong.
No, that is correct.
And the sea serpent it is.
Yeah, he nods a couple times.
His place of residence, you can call it that, is our old quarters.
So you will be down on the second deck.
Yes.
Good to know. Hopefully none of these slaves decide to fight us.
Are there any slaves in the room with him?
There were, I believe, 3. 1 he was using as a footstand. 2 were standing there sort of as ornamental guards, but I believe that they can be dealt with quite easily.
From one master to another.
So then he Weasel looks to the mage. I can get us in the back of the ship. It will cause an explosion. Perhaps the ship would be lost.
Well, we have plenty to spare now.
He kinda
Besides,
looks to-
the water will be so shallow, no danger of it sinking to the bottom, really.
I nod.
So then we're in agreement that these slaves in the room that you say are disposable.
I would not say that, but if they raise a sword to me, I will cut them down.
Then how would you like to enter the ship otherwise?
Well, what is your plan exactly for entering? You have said there will be an explosion. Can you
Kind
describe?
of sparks a small fireball in his hand, like a
He's
like
gonna
just,
blow
just
that
kind of like
back.
it's just like a little fire bolt, just like a taste of what could exist. But he just kind of like brings it out in his hand and turns back to you. A fireball.
I see.
Is there not a window in the room that we stayed?
I nod. Yes, Vasily jumped from it, remember?
Yeah, but it's like a small. I don't think any of
It
you
is
guys could
small,
fit through it.
however. I certainly
I thought it was a bigger window. Okay.
will not fit through.
Tamacti's trying to, I guess, visualize the layout of the room from when he just sort of witnessed it yesterday.
Yeah, let me get that
If
for
we
you.
blow out the back of the ship, or the back of the room, they were far enough forward that realistically they might not necessarily get injured, right?
Like they'll probably get injured, just probably not die, I would imagine.
Yeah, when you went into the room, there were 2 like off to the right and the left. Your beds were still there, and this like chair had been put in the back as this throne. And it was,
I really hate him.
It was
Yeah.
directly in front of the window, the small
Yeah, so that's what we do.
window. I suppose a couple options that would come to your mind, other than blowing a hole through it or going up through the top. It's possible that one of you guys could maybe even just reach your arm, like if you climb up the backside, just reach your arm in and just pull him right out. But I don't know.
Sure, I can do that.
That's entirely up to you guys. I'm not trying to influence you in any way.
That would be pretty
But
cash money
but,
right
but
there.
it's like you guys know that he's climbed out of it before, so he will fit.
He fits for sure, yeah.
You think dolls can drown?
No.
Oh, damn.
I looked at Tamacti, like, since he's the one who doesn't really want to hurt the slaves too much, I don't seem to care. What do you say, Tamacti? You care for these people. If you have another idea, now is the time.
I believe that if we aim for that porthole in the back, we can keep collateral damage to a minimum. That is the best we can hope for.
If you wish, I could try to climb the boat first. He fits through that window. If he's close enough, I will just yank him and throw them down.
That could work as well.
He cannot drown in the water, so I will jump down with him and kill him myself.
Very well, we will try that as plan A.
If it does
Please.
not work, shoot the damn fireball in the back of the boat.
If somebody is going to go up to the the back of the boat and climb up, then perhaps do you have something for that? And Weasel says that, kind of like turning to the.
I nod.
mage.
I have rope.
I have a spell,
That will probably be better.
spider climb.
I nod. That sounds fairly useful.
It is exactly what it sounds like.
We will use that then. I can nod towards the wizard, having seen his prowess once.
Yeah. Right, then we have about 15 more minutes before it lands. You ready to move?
I nod. Do we have like... Did we beach those boats, or did we use like small canoes or whatever to like make our way on shore?
They were out far enough that if you were to jump out of them, you would be submerged in water above your head last time. And so you guys kind of like jumped out of them, and then like
Gotcha.
pretty much everyone did. They just jumped out and then swam to shore, or like swam to shore is the only really option. Except Mother Ishka, who I think
Not like we would have brought the boat with us anyway. Now that I think about it, we're not even on the same shore. So.
I have an idea. I'll cast. Oh wait, no, never mind.
You want your disc? Your disc won't work.
Yeah, I could just carry you over there.
Yeah, but that disc
that's how
won't. It
Mother
doesn't.
Ishka was brought over, I think.
The disc doesn't.
Yeah, but
The
I mean,
disc
like,
doesn't float above water, right?
yeah, but I could carry you, like fly over there.
Oh yeah, you could airdrop me. Yeah, I mean, sure if you want to.
Yeah, I mean, we don't have a boat, so.
Thing is, are you strong enough to lift me?
He is heavy.
I mean, I've got slightly above average strength.
I weigh probably
11?
North of like
No,
200 to 300 pounds with the armor and the
Uh,
sword.
12 strength.
I would allow that. I think it would just take you, like it would just slow you down a tiny bit.
Sounds good to me, Chief.
I think you carry one person for sure.
All right.
I will drop. I'm gonna drop 2 hand axes, 3 javelins, a glaive, and a claymore on the sword just to save some weight.
Yeah.
Just watching Gabriel start like throwing
An
shit out of
armor.
his
Whole
back.
armory.
I have an armory on me. Yeah, I always had these.
That really brings into perspective what Gabriel looks like on a given day. Okay,
I am carrying 121 pounds of equipment plus what I weigh, which is about like 200.
I forgot you had that glaive.
Yeah, I use the glaive for when I can't reach someone with a sword because it has a longer reach.
And so I guess like right before we're about to do this, like right before I pick him up and fly off with them, unless anybody else wants to do anything, Tamacti is going to kind of reach over and kind of place his hand on the shoulder of his 2 friends and sort of lean in. This is going to be a challenge. One that may or may not be just as difficult as your old friend, Girl. However, I believe that what is at stake is much greater there on that boat than what we faced in the city. We will succeed. I have faith in this. We are strong. We are stronger together. Do not waver, and we will not fail. And then I'm going to use my emboldening bond as
Nice.
my cleric, whatever the hell it's called.
Oh.
So for 10 minutes, anytime any of the 3 of us are within 30 feet of each other, we can roll a d4 and add that number to an attack roll, an ability check, or a saving throw.
That's cool.
Say
And
less.
each creature can add the d4 no more than once per turn, but it's not like a use it once and then you're done. You can use
You
it
can
as many
keep
times
using
as you
it.
want in 10
Awesome.
minutes.
All right, and I will look towards the wizard, to give me the spell if he's going to do it. Now's the time.
Let me just double check how long it lasts really quick.
An hour with concentration. I remember this spell. Yeah,
Then yeah, I think that he cast it on you.
sounds good. I nod
Hey.
towards the wizard. Thank you.
Don't thank me yet. We have yet to complete the task.
Fair enough. Ready
I-
for a takeoff. I look towards Tamacti.
I nod.
I extend my arm so you can like fucking pick me up.
I'm going to just one last thing before I do. I'm going to then cast protection from good and evil upon myself.
Okay.
Oh.
And then I'm going to pick you up and fly you over there.
Wait, before he does. Never mind, I don't have that spell anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lol.
Before he does, I'm going to give him a high five.
You got this, bro.
Team!
Poor Rubin.
Yeah, it looks like Rubin tried to cast something on Tamacti, but just absolutely nothing happens.
Give him a weird
And,
look, and then I say, ha, loser. And then I fly.
And he goes back to being depressed.
I will pick up my dear friend Gabriel and start to lumber off like a C-130 taking off.
Just on a really short runway.
It actually is like a really cool mental image, though. The like Rubin going to cast a spell and just like nothing. It's just like a look at your hands maybe and just like oh.
Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly how it goes. Tried to cast Long Strider, realized could not do that.
And as you two lift off, you see Rubin, the wizard, is he's shedding off like excess kind of furs that he has on and putting them there on the ground, and like pulls his hood back, and you see that his arms and like chest and legs are wrapped in like a very, very loose fitting sort of tunic and pants that are like blue cloth. And they're tied tight around his wrists so they don't get in the way with like you know, sort of off-white bandages and around his like ankles. So they're like really puffy down to like just below his knees and really puffy down to like halfway up his forearm. And he asks you, do you want to take off your armor really quick? It's going to get a bit bumpy. You don't need to, but it might be easier.
He's going to
Man, you realize how squishy I am without this thing? Hell no.
yeah, he's gonna shed everything but the armor and his weapon.
Okay, so helmet too?
No, he just
The
keeps that
helmet
like on his
stayed
waist.
The helmet stays.
Yeah, it's on his waist. It's not on him, like, you know, on his head, but you know, his fucking backpack full of shit and whatnot, he does shed. And just like hand crossbow and whip and puts that to the side too.
And Weasel kind of claps his hands together and, all right, then I guess we're ready. Imric, lead the way. And the mage sort of gives you a nod, Rubin. You can see like the very edges of a smile kind of cresting as he's trying to hold it back. And he just sort of like bolts right for the water, and Weasel doesn't miss a beat. He's right behind him.
And you know, Rubin didn't look as enthused about this whole thing. And he watches the two start bolting and immediately, you know, clues in that he should probably be doing the same and just starts running for the water.
Okay, I'm gonna get back to Gabriel and Tamacti in a second. I just want to narrate what this looks like. So the boats are now about 10 minutes away from being ready to dock, so not very long. And as Imric, the kind of mage, like just bolts his way out, Weasel right behind him, you kind of like, oh well, here goes nothing, and just kind of like going on behind him, Imric like brings out both of his arms in front of himself, kind of like outstretched all the way with his palms facing forward, and is still like maintaining that run. And you see just like kind of like gouts of cold sort of magic leaving out from his hand and like freezing the surface of the water. And like it's just a thin strip like wide enough to run on, maybe like 5 feet. So like the water and the waves are still like lapping over it and making it like slippery, but he almost loses his footing for a moment as he first gets on it. And like, you know those moving escalators or not moving escalators, the moving walkways at like
the airports and shit.
Yeah, the airports. Yeah, it's kind of like that, where like the moment you first get on it, it's like and then you're kind of good to go.
Okay, I gotcha.
And so he like hops on it, and he's still maintaining like kind of a steady pace, not speeding up, not slowing down, because he doesn't want to slip. And Weasel does the same thing, and it looks like they've done this before by how easily they're kind of doing it. However, this is not something that you have done before.
No, it is not.
So I am gonna ask for an acrobatics check.
Oh, I'm not good at checks. Oh, 16.
And do you get to add that 1d4 thing that Tamacti used?
Oh yeah, I guess I'm still probably close enough to them, right?
I don't think it matters on distance, does it?
It does. You have to be within 30 feet of us.
Oh, okay.
Too late now.
Then 16 is high enough either way. But I just wanted to see what you would have gotten with that 1d4.
Okay.
So, yeah, you kind of like lose your footing for almost just a moment, and the water's like splashing over onto the top of this like surface that is going along, and you can hear the ice kind of cracking behind you as it has nothing to support it. And so like it's flash frozen for a moment, and then sort of like turns back into water, maybe like 5 or 10 feet behind you. And as you guys crest the first like small little tiny wave, because they're not huge until they get out there, you see that Weasel kind of like hops a little bit and kind of catches like the downside of the crest of the wave, and they're both doing that. So you probably follow along step, I'd imagine.
Yeah, when in Rome, do as the Romans do.
Yeah, and with each one that you guys kind of crest and hop over, you're gaining a little bit more speed because like that downward kind of slope, to the point where eventually Weasel and Imric are no longer even running; they're just kind of sliding at this point, and the waves get larger and larger. And nearing the time that you guys get out to the ship itself, you guys are like skipping waves. Like you guys
shit!
Like sailing through the air for a while, and then like kind of like landing on the next one. And so that's just kind of like a mental image of how that's working.
Oh my god, that is terrifying.
And so Tamacti and Gabriel, you guys probably see this happening, and you guys are flying out towards the ships.
Nice.
I want to know: are you flying low? Or are you flying high?
Probably fairly low. Like we'll say, are there any breakers? Like, are the waves really getting fairly high? Or
I'd say the largest ones are from like crest to trough, probably a distance of 10 feet.
geez, so yeah.
So like they're
high.
well, not the biggest really, but
10
yeah.
foot 10-foot wave is big.
Not at an open sea.
Yeah, I guess.
It's like crest to trough. It's not like an immediate difference. It's just got like a sort of rolling kind of hill.
Right, then I'll say I fly 15 feet above the surface so that we're not like getting splashed.
Yeah, got it. And when you like hit the crests, like sometimes the bottom edges of your wings, sort of like the feathers clip the water, and you can see like a tiny little spray go up. But it's nothing that would make you more noticeable or anything like that. Just for kind of mental image and theater of mind.
Mm-hmm.
And with the combination of the ships sailing towards the land and you guys doing this as like a two-pronged assault, you probably get there in about 7 minutes. And so you have 7 minutes now before the ships land. So first I want to hear from Tamacti and Gabriel how you guys approach the ship. Like, what do you do?
I'm going to sort of fly him along the side, like towards the back, and then just kind of let go. Like rather than dropping him on the top deck, I'm just gonna kind of fly past and let him stick to the side. And
yeah, that's sweet.
Yeah, I just airdrop in. I grab the side like Spider-Man.
Yeah, and just like like swerve off to the side, and just like break off like that jet meme, where like the guy points off and then
just like that.
And then once that's done, if that goes off without a hitch, I'm going to then kind of wheel upwards and then alight on the top deck.
Ah, okay. And so a majority of the slaves are not on the top decks because they're just kind of enjoying like lounging about and whatnot. There are a couple people on each top deck, and the ships are spread out enough that they might not be paying like close attention to each other. But if you would like to, I'll allow you to roll a stealth if you're trying to remain hidden, or if you're just like going for it.
Why not?
I mean, it's not like anyone from another ship would make a difference really, other than like shouting maybe, but
yeah, but it'd be cool if we stealth bombered in, so I'll give it a try.
Okay.
That's a 21.
Ooh.
I'm gonna say that because of the nature of how Gabriel is boarding the ship, I'm not gonna make him roll stealth at all, because like who the fuck looks there really? But
yeah, I was gonna say I doubt I have to stealth. Like who would look at the back?
Yeah, exactly. And so you're kind of like just latching onto the back, and then and the Tamacti is landing there on the top. And before we get into the Rubin side of things, I think we're gonna take like just a quick 5. We're back, and so we just heard how Gabriel and Tamacti boarded the ship, but now we're gonna hear how Rubin and Weasel and Imric get to the ship.
Yeah.
And so you guys are like surfing essentially, or like skating more so.
Fucking gliding.
Yeah, across like skipping waves and going out there, and you arrived there just after Tamacti and Gabriel, because you didn't leave like directly after them. So as you guys are coming up on the ship, this mage is already concentrating on something, and so he can't really cast Spider Climb again. And so what he does is just kind of like creates a ramp, and you guys like sort of sail up through the air, and to a point where you can grab onto the edge of the ship's railing, not like directly on top of it, but the edge of the ship's railing. And so I'm not gonna make you roll for it.
Whew. I would have definitely failed it if you
Because I was like, is that a sleight of hand or is that acrobatics? And I was like, it's kind of acrobatics. I think I already rolled acrobatics. So I think that you are able to grab onto the edge of the railing, and so does Weasel, and so does Imric, and you guys are all three there on like the side of the ship, and Imric kind of like, it's Rubin on the left, Weasel in the middle, Imric on the right.
And, you know, Rubin looks over as he, like, thunks against the side of the ship and manages to clutch on. And stays there for, like, half a second just to make sure there was, like, no one right there over the railing. And then
If you want to, you can roll a perception while you're kind of, like, sailing through the air to get an idea of where people are on the top of the ship.
Yeah, I'd like to do that.
Okay.
The 12.
12. You saw two people on the top of the ship. One of them is steering the boat, and the other one is just kind of like roaming around on the top, getting ready to kind of like hoist up the sails. Is probably what you can surmise.
Okay. And so yeah, after he thunks against the side, you know, he waits a second, then looks over towards, you know, the other two, and gives off like a like a little nod, like, we just fucking did that.
Yeah. Weasel and Imric both kind of look between each other, and then Weasel looks to you, and he gives both of you two a thumbs up, and I think that we're good. The way that where you guys landed on the side of the ship, like grabbing onto it, is about halfway towards the front, halfway towards the back. Weasel looks like he's in thought for a moment. Should we wait for a signal or something? He's like trying to speak quietly, but like there's still crashing waves, so he has to like raise his voice just a little bit.
Give it. How long can you hold on?
I'm great at this. I can do this forever. And Imric kind of like nods his head.
Then we will wait here for a minute. And if nothing happens, at least their eyes will be topside.
Okay. While they're waiting, Tamacti and Gabriel. Tamacti, I think that you land on the back of the ship behind the man steering it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's a gap of about 10 feet between you and him.
Okay, then I land there. Who's steering the ship? Anyone I recognize?
No one that you recognize. Just one of the, like... Well, I suppose you would recognize them. You never, like,
name.
learned their name. Yeah, but they're on the top of the ship. They're one of the Northmen that were, you know, just part of the ship naturally.
Where is Lanya?
He kind of, like, takes a moment, does, like, a double take, looks to his left, looks to his right, like, kind of cranes his head up to look down, like, below where the steering wheel is. Who said that?
I'm behind you.
Like, turns his head over his shoulder. What the hell? Tamacti, what are you doing here?
Where is Lanya?
I think that she's downstairs, a floor. I'm not sure.
Okay. I walk up to him and I sort of place a hand on his shoulder reassuringly. Keep steering the boat to shore, no matter what you hear.
No matter what I hear.
I nod.
What is that supposed to mean?
Don't worry about it.
I let out the blood screaming. No, I'm just kidding.
You see that the other man on the top of the ship is also one of the Northmen, not one of the slaves.
Let's see. I nod to him, and then I'm going to cast message to Lanya. Lanya, it is Tamacti. I am on the top deck. Can you come up here, please?
She's not able to respond, I'm pretty sure, right? Oh, she can, but it's like it's audible to people around her because it's like a whisper.
The target hears the message and can reply in a whisper that only you can hear.
Ah, got it. Okay. Yeah, so there's like a short delay. Maybe she's turning away from somebody that's by her or whatever, but you know, probably anyone that would see her, they would see like her mouthing some words to herself and kind of like perk up a little bit at this sudden message that pops in her head. And then she makes her way up the stairs, and you see her emerge up top. She still has that sort of very red and dark gray like half plate on, and looks around on the top of the deck for a little bit and nods to the other crewman that's up there, and then looks up towards the wheel and sees you. And
I walk over to her.
Okay.
I hold out my arms for an embrace.
She welcomes you with a smile and an embrace as well, and it's good to see you back. Is everything ready to land? We're all in good order?
Yeah, we're good.
Yes, I have talked to
the leaders, the representatives of the clans, excluding Morgong, they have made their peace with the recent changes. Truth be told, I think some of them were about to affect the same change their own way. However, there is one thing that has to take place first.
A toast to the end of slavery?
Yes, that will come.
Okay, well, easy enough.
However, there was much bloodshed, much potential seemingly unnecessary bloodshed, and the architect who is responsible for it must be brought to justice. That is why I am here.
Her face hardens a little bit. Tamacti, I held the blade myself. The others held the blade themselves.
I put my hand.
don't need
I
to
put
know
my. I put my hands on either side of her face. I have made a bargain for all of your lives. Vasily is the only one that will pay. Now, I need you to stand aside and let me take care of this.
She looks like she has some sort of internal battle about this for a moment, where her brows kind of like come down and knit together a little bit, and you see her eyes squinting just barely. You know, you are somebody that had been helping them out on the ship for weeks straight and showing them like some sort of human compassion, while all they've known is just being slaves and being fed water from a bucket and slop. And but Baldwin is the one that kind of like orchestrated their sudden freedom, like actual real life.
Whether you realize, I see sort of her trepidation. Whether you realize it or not, the one you call Baldwin used you as tools to achieve his own gains. He does not care for you, does not care for your lives. He would just as soon have carved you up and thrown you in the water if it suited his needs. He is not your ally. He does not care for your continued survival and prosperity. I do, and I always have. I am here for all of you, and I will continue to do so. But first, he has to die.
She raises a hand up to your shoulder and sort of like sideways steps, so that there's like you would be passing by her on the way to the stairs, and ushers kind of gesturing with her other hand for you to move down to the stairs if you so choose to. I'm staying out of it.
I expected nothing else.
She gives you a solemn expression and a serious kind of curt wave of her hand.
And I head down below decks to the second floor.
And as you're moving down the stairs, what's Gabriel doing?
Yeah, am I supposed to pull this motherfucker out? Like, bring him upstairs? What's the
I
word?
don't know. That's all I see. So what are you doing?
I mean, I don't know. Do I hear that conversation?
Can I do one more thing actually before we switch back to Gabriel?
Sure.
I'm gonna cast one more message. Thank God this is a cantrip spell, man.
Yep.
To Gabriel.
Wait for my signal.
Okay. So I want to hear then what Gabriel does in preparation, getting ready for this. I'm so excited for this.
Well, I go by that little window, right?
Yeah.
I can literally, because of spider climb, I can essentially walk on a wall, like as if it were the floor.
Yeah.
So I kind of just go and I crouch next to that. Like I'm standing on the side, I crouch next to the window, and I see like, will my hand like, you know, it'll fit nicely through it. It'll be easy enough to just kind of yank my hand in, right?
Yeah, it's like a 1.5 wide circle, like diameter, and so it's
worst
large enough
comes
to
to
fit him
worst,
through it, but not like a brawly ass big Gabriel with like plate on, you know.
And worst comes to worst, how thick does the wood seem to be here? If I were to just try and destroy my way through the window.
It is a ship, and so it's carrying a lot of weight and has to have a lot of structural integrity. I would say...
But I'm really that guy.
I'd say... I want to say like 4 inches thick.
Fair enough.
Fair enough.
I don't think you're that guy, though.
I think I am.
Okay, and so you're just crouching next to it, just waiting, kind of like, are you peeking in at all, listening or anything?
I will definitely listen. I mean, I guess my head's close enough to that. If they are talking inside at all, I would hear it. Yeah, I'm not looking though, because I don't want to, be on the off chance that one of the guards looks out the window.
Is there anything else that I can do for your greatness? And you hear a voice.
I'm pissed off. I'm seething right.
You hear a voice respond. More wine, please. Just in response.
What does he need wine for? He's made of wood.
That's all you hear, and then the guy goes, "Yes, understood." You hear kind of like a couple steps, kind of reverberate through the wood off.
As soon as I hear the steps, because they're heading away, I'm supposed to go get wine.
Mm-hmm.
And I assume Vasily's isn't looking to like the window.
Yeah,
but this is all I'm assuming. I'm gonna just kind of peek my head just so my eye, like a single eye, can see inside. Because I'm trying to judge a distance. Like, I know I can reach my arm inside, but is my arm going to be long enough to grab him?
You see that this kind of makeshift throne that he's made is made out of, like, a single bench from the slave quarters downstairs. Just hacked to pieces and then, like, kind of, like, put together in a different sort of mismatch chair. And then there are there's just one of these sort of, like, guards, so quote unquote, in there with him standing against the side that would be your left perspective currently, but if somebody were to come through the door, on their right perspective, like kind of up against the beds that Gabriel and I think, Gabriel and Rubin were using. Make sense?
So he's close enough that I could reach him with my arm if I jabbed it in there.
Baldwin is. The guard is more
That's
towards
good.
the door.
I just care about Vasily. I'm not going to call him Baldwin. I will not do you this pleasure.
Okay.
But yeah, I guess I'm ready now.
And so you hear these steps sort of like going off to the side, and Tamacti, you make your way down the stairs, and you see this door open all of a sudden, and kind of like in a shabby potato cloth sack, essentially, a figure steps out.
I nod to him.
Tamacti, it's very good to see you again.
And you as well.
Back so soon. I expected you to stay on the land.
No, I wanted to see the landing personally from here. Make sure nothing was awry.
He kind of like closes the door behind himself, standing there. Is everything in order then? We're good to land? Everything's...
Yes, I just need to share some words with the lordship in there regarding his plans.
Uh-huh. Then the slave kind of nods to you once. Well, I'm going off to fetch some wine for him. He lowers his voice, kind of cranes his head forward a little bit. I'm not quite sure why, really, but whatever pleases him.
Right.
Yeah, death will.
Well, you best get on with that then. I won't delay you further.
Yes, in truth, I'm not actually sure where it is, so...
The kitchen is, well, I'm sure you know where the kitchen is.
Yes. Just not sure where the wine is. But he kind of like gives a little wiggle of his head and kind of like saunters off towards like around you, pats you once on the shoulder. Good to see you again.
Good to see you as well, friend.
And he starts stepping away. So it's now Gabriel's on the backside and Tamacti's on the front side, and it's now been a minute, Rubin, as this kind of stuff is transpiring.
Over, baby.
Okay, you hop over with Weasel, and Imric hop over too, and the kind of guy on the top of the deck.
Navy SEAL Team 6 is
SEAL
on
Team
board.
6 shit, yeah. We just boarded this boat.
Yeah, we.
Rubin? Weasel? Is that you?
Hello.
What?
Don't mind us. We've got some business to handle.
Rubin pulls out an M4 stop mod.
he screws on his silencer.
Sure. Right. And he goes back to kind of fidgeting with the ropes to get ready to bring
Do they
stuff.
see Lanya up there too?
Lanya is up there, yeah, and so when this crewman kind of like says that, then Lanya sort of turns over her shoulder and sees you guys. I already know. Just go ahead, do what you must.
Alright, well, it's good to see you.
And then he proceeds on down the steps.
Your new god sucks, by the way.
I didn't
By the
like
way,
that guy anyways.
Tormach is no longer hip.
And he could no.
Okay, and so you make your way down the stairs too?
Yeah.
Then Tamacti, if you were about to open the door or anything like that, you hear steps coming sort of down the stairs behind you. It sounds like a series of people. And if you were to turn over your shoulder or anything like that, you know who you would see.
Mm-hmm. I hear the creaking and the sagging that would only be associated with real stupidly heavy armor, and would know that only one man that I am acquainted with wears armor that stupid and heavy, and it's my good friend Rubin.
It's not that heavy.
Like a half plate, I think. So it's
Mine's heavy. Mine's heavier. I keep telling you, I'm that guy.
Yeah, he's wearing full plate, dude. He's also like a fucking giant ass 200-pound man.
But I'm also like a spider on the side of the wall. So
Yeah, he's like stuck. He's stuck to the side of the ship right now.
You hear Weasel kind of like as they're coming down the stairs. He can't see you yet. He's kind of like hunching down just a little bit, trying to look underneath the kind of ceiling of the deck, the middle floor. Tamacti, are you down here? We're coming down.
Yes. And then I open the door.
Okay, so as they crest to the bottom of the stairs, you open the door. So there's a difference of from the door to the stairs about 10 feet, give or take. And you open the door and you see Baldwin is there, sort of like fidgeting with his little wooden fingernails. And
God, everything he does just pisses me off.
and he's sitting on this little throne, and he looks completely different from the last time that you saw him. It may have been an illusion that he's been holding up this whole time. It may have been that he's just had some work done since you last saw him, but he looks a lot... Before he was kind of like shabby, beaten up, scratched, chipped, stuff like that. Now he's like very finely crafted.
Didn't I see him like yesterday?
That's right, you did.
And he still looked shabby then?
Actually, it was like 30 minutes ago.
And so he looks a little bit better now, in better shape, and he's kind of got like little wooden hair and a comb over off to the side.
He went to the YSL store. That's crazy.
He's got a little comb over off to the side, and he's got like little clothes, like actual cloth clothing on him. And,
how big is the health bar floating over his head now?
So anyways, what do you do? As he kind of looks up from his fingernail, or not even looking up from his fingernails, he says,
Is that my wine?
No. I turn to... How many guards are in the room right now?
just one.
Who is it?
Is it someone I recognize?
It's one of the slaves. It is Sasha.
Sasha, I need to speak with Baldwin alone. Could you step outside?
Sure, anything for you, Tamacti. And he just kind of like maneuvers his way to just leave the room. Kind of slipping past you, gives you a pat on the shoulder. Good to see you.
Good to see you as well. I give him a smile.
And so, does everyone file into this room? I
step in further. Yeah, we all walk in like big.
I am the Senate.
They literally walking like Mace Windu.
Yeah. I hope I don't end up like Mace Windu. Fully alert, by the way. I step forth, Baldwin.
Oh, were you not going to say anything else after that?
I was like,
I thought that was like leading into a statement.
I was addressing him.
like Baldwin. This ends now.
Yeah, Baldwin, like addressing him. You know.
Tamacti.
It is.
I see that no wine.
No, I am not in the business of wine fetching.
He kind of like half shuts his eyes because he can't actually squint because he's a doll. So he like just half shuts his eyelids.
What brings you here?
This, and then I'm going to Misty Step across the room to him, and then sort of use that inertia to shove him backwards against the porthole.
Oh. Okay. Make a. I'm gonna say at advantage, a sleight of hand.
Okay.
Or a grapple. Could be either one.
Yeah, I'm thinking a sleight of hand, Chief.
Okay.
You're not much of an athletic man.
He's not a very heavy guy, so that's why I'm saying sleight of hand.
That's a 23.
23. You just like poof into mist that like slowly starts falling to the floor and then like appear right there, and you what do you do, like lift him up under the armpits or?
Yeah, basically just like I sort of just fucking grab him, like shove him against the porthole where I assume like Gabriel like lashes through and grab.
Like, you know what this reminds me of? You guys ever watch like the Chucky movies? Like somebody could just like lift up Chucky, like this little stupid
old
doll.
puppet.
Or like punt him like a football.
Yeah, this stupid little doll. Somebody could just like pick him up and just chuck him. And so you just like like scoop right underneath him and just push him up into the porthole. And Gabriel, all of a sudden you see this head poking out of like head and half of a torso of Baldwin.
Awesome. Well, before that slightly, when I heard Tamacti say this, whoever's inside, I guess you can hear bones cracking and seemingly going into different shapes as I'm going to transform into my werewolf form.
So which one of your limbs maintains contact with the boat as the rest of them are changing into wolf form? Do you have like one human hand left that's kind of just stuck onto the side of the boat?
I think that he could do all, because it's not like the magic goes away just because he's changing form. Kind of, it's still him.
That's true.
Yeah, it stays on me. And then I will, I'm going to rip my way through the boat. I'm just going to open this window, like jab both of my hands in the
just like
window,
open it up wider,
and just just fucking
just
like stretch it, explode the window essentially.
Yeah, he actually he DM'd me beforehand asking if this would be something that he thought could happen. I thought that's some sick theatrics. So yeah, he just like reaches in both arms, just like rips to like sideways and outward towards himself, just like almost like, you know, the motion of like pulling up from the ground because you're standing on the side of the boat or the back of the boat. And it just opens up wider, and so then it comes down to, do you actually grab Baldwin or
yes.
Like, he could just like launch right out the back of it now.
I grab Baldwin by the goddamn head, and I'm going to cave it as hard as I can on the side of the boat.
Okay, make
athletics, I would assume.
It could be an athletics, or it could be an attack roll of like unarmed.
Sounds good. Let's see if I made actually those my claws. I don't remember. One moment. Nah, I'm just gonna roll it. It's the same roll anyway because I'd have the same bonus. So I'm just gonna roll athletics.
Okay.
22.
22. Okay, so you can narrate how that happens.
Sure. Rip the window open, and then I'm kind of just standing there, like I'm looking down at like a manhole, but I'm on the side of a boat, so kind of weird. Then I'm just gonna reach for him as he's pushed towards me, grab him by the head with the gigantic hands I now possess.
Yeah, and your claws kind of like dig into him.
And I'm going to so there's like a throne, right? But he doesn't have his footrest guy anymore, I hope.
No, he doesn't. That was the wine guy.
Okay. I'm going to leap inside and on my way crush the throne as I pound his little tiny Chucky body under my massive weight on the floorboards.
Okay. You hear like a crack and splinter as like chips of him are falling off, and you swear that you see like wisps of magical energy, like sort of bright puffs like illuminate and just like sift upwards like mist into the air and dissipate with each splinter that comes off, and he's just like screaming the whole time.
Sounds sick.
You're just like crushing and just like tearing and pulling off his little arms and legs, and
I keep bashing his head on and on in the floor, like.
And it like completely flattens out into splinters and broken wood, and you can see like one of his eyelids like twitching a little bit, like closing up and down over one of his eyes, and his jaw is just like broken off and on the ground somewhere like about half a foot away, and you can see like as you're doing this through his back. You can see like a little sort of rune glowing that kind of like dissipates and fades into dull.
Oh, that's cool.
Like through his clothing. Yeah.
Gabriel.
I stop immediately, like looking up.
I walk over to him. I look down at the doll. Is there any remnants of or semblance of life left?
He's like splintered, arms like broken the wrong way, and one of his legs is like half fallen off, and
I pull my my flintlock out and I point it down at his head.
Okay.
You don't come back. And then I shoot him.
Nice.
That's such a great closing statement. And as the flintlock goes off, there's a crack. Like the door kind of opens up a little bit. It's Sasha. Is he gone?
Yes.
Oh, thank the gods.
Sasha sees now that I'm like a 7 foot tall werewolf.
Yeah, Sasha actually probably closes the door upon seeing that.
Opens the door, peeks his head in, closes the door again.
As we're like 6 dudes are standing next to a doll that we're all beating, like literally bullying to death.
Weasel and Emrys are off to the side. like standing there with their arms crossed, just watching this happen. It's very clear that Baldwin is dead. Like there's
I reload my
was
flintlock and
easier than
reholster it. I turn around. Well, I'm going to be honest. That was a bit of a letdown.
You hear the bones cracking again, and the fur starts to disappear as I'm going to retransform into myself.
That's why I was laughing so hard the whole time, like leading up to this, because like you guys were approaching this like it was this huge operation.
But he's a little shit.
He's a little stupid doll.
I just
Yeah,
really,
but we don't know what powers Tormach could have given him.
I really
was,
thought he would have some kind of ability.
Seems like Tormach loves to disappoint.
I mean, that almost felt unfair.
Now I'm fully back to being myself as the last arm kind of snaps into place. I nod, slightly
Rubin.
overkill.
Are we the bad guys?
You feel the ship lurch to a halt as it kind of like makes contact with the shore just a little bit, enough to like suddenly slow it down. And then there are a couple shouts from up top of the deck, and you can hear footsteps outside the doorway as they're going up the stairs, and you can hear shouting from people outside on the shore as well. I think that we've docked. Weasel says as he looks over towards the door, kind of like one eyebrow raised, already stepping to open it.
So it would seem. Let us view these proceedings, make sure nothing unfortunate occurs.
I give one last look to the splintered remains of Vasily.
I'm gonna go pick him up. Pick up what's left.
Okay, like all of them.
Quite frankly,
I mean, is he in like different places? I don't.
There's like a couple pieces like splintered around. Like I said, like one of his hands is like broken, a couple fingers off of it.
You should
Yeah.
burn the little shit.
Yeah, I'm gonna start collecting all of them. I think just to be sure. Rubin doesn't ever feel like anything's that easy. Like.
Okay.
This dude really thought he was that guy when he said Tamacti. Like, okay, dude.
I'm not gonna lie. The fact that like that occurred, that, like he caused all of this mess, only to be put down so easily,
Pissed me
makes
off
it even more infuriating.
That you left him be on the boat when he looked at you.
I thought
It
you guys
wasn't a
was
joke.
joking.
It was not a joke. Oh my days.
This whole situation is just like, for the listener, if you're listening to these sessions like back to back to back to back, and you're like, all this is still fresh in your head, I hope you're getting a little bit of a laugh out of this.
Oh.
I cannot believe that this little shit like made a Chucky puppet fucked all this. Oh my days.
The Weasel makes his way for the door finally and opens it up, kind of like ushering all of you out. If you would go, like, kind of, gentlemen, open.
I
the
step
door kind of
inside.
thing.
Inside being the rest of the ship, I guess. So out.
Outside, yeah. Okay, and you feel like your feet are still kind of glued to the floor as you're stepping. Like every step is like you're really just kind of planted.
Yeah, I look to the wizard. I'm like, is there some way you can remove this? It is strange to walk.
He just kind of waves one of his hands, and all of a sudden there's a difference made.
I gotta shake my legs a bit. Finally, I jump. Finally able to like let go of the ground. Then I go upstairs.
And as you guys make your way up to the top, you see that Lanya and Sasha and Belfour are all there. Belfour kind of like towering over Lanya and Sasha. Sasha and Lanya standing next to each other at the edge. All three of them in this sort of like half plate, very decorated and sharp and spiny and barbed. Well, I can't say that I missed them, truthfully. He kind of like looks over his shoulder. This is Sasha. And he looks over to hopefully spot Tamacti or somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Anything
Yeah.
that we should expect?
Just get along with them.
Cold greetings.
Back to slavery?
No.
The raiding party has agreed to stop slavery. Some of the men here have even changed their mind on the issue. We'll bring it back home.
However, what you are wearing, I point to the armor,
Mhm.
serves as a foul reminder to what took place here. I would dispose of it if I were you.
I-
Your choice. You will live with the consequences if you wear it.
I understand what you're saying, Tamacti, but I feel safer with it, truthfully.
So be it.
And just then Rubin comes up with all the fucking Vasily parts, like piled in his arms.
And the Northmen are already beginning kind of like walking out into the water and swimming out to their respective ships. And you see Lanya kind of like toss a knotted rope over the edge. Like one of those ones that's knotted every few feet so people can climb, you know. And then Sasha lets down kind of like a little rope ladder as well. Well, here's to hoping.
Indeed.
What was the wizard's name again?
Emmerich?
Imrik. I-M-R-I-K.
Is he still up? Is he like on the top deck?
He is. He's sticking on this ship for now.
Emmerich, could you incinerate this? I'd do it myself, but
But I can't anymore.
He just stops at butt and kind of looks to him, pile of shit in his arms.
He sorry, did you say that you have it just kind of like loosely in your arms, or is it like in a cloth or something, or?
Yeah, it's just loosely in his arms. He
Okay.
hasn't put it in anything.
Yeah, he just kind of like takes it from you and drops like a couple of the fingers and has to like bend over and like pluck them up and put them back into the pile. We're on a wooden ship. Do you want me to burn it here? Or are you saying that I should go to land?
can't you just make a spot of ice and burn it there?
Sure.
I
Yeah.
was gonna say, I'll literally just take them in my hands. I don't care. It's gonna be, what, 4 fire damage? I'm alright.
He takes it and kind of like uses his tunic as like a makeshift kind of like sack for it. You know how people like hold things in their shirt. And
Oh, yeah.
yeah, so he does that and just kind of like with one hand holds the top of the bottom of the bottom of his shirt up against him, making this sort of sack with all the little silly parts there, and then,
Silly parts.
yeah, and just kind of hops off the ship and with one arm down casts that sort of like icy sort of flow from his hand and lands with kind of like Iron Man style, I guess, or Spider-Man style, before not really in a hurry now, just like walking out slowly until it's shallow enough for him to wade through it without losing any of these parts. And you see him making his way over towards the shore. Unless you guys would do anything, I would be comfortable with sort of skipping through the whole, like, everyone getting back on their respective ships.
As long as nothing breaks out that I need to intervene in.
Yeah.
I don't think that anything does.
Well, that's refreshing.
Everyone kind of makes their way to their ships. Their leaders make their way to their respective ships, and Mother Ishka, with the aid of Weasel, kind of like makes her way up onto the ship, climbing the ladder, and everyone is just in their places. And you can see as you're looking out amongst all the ships, like the sort of not like violent expressions, but just kind of like off-kilter expressions that the slaves and former slave keepers kind of give each other. Like it's definitely it's all been agreed upon that the slaves will be free, but
Yeah, it doesn't mean that it's good in their head, yeah. I kind of fold my arms and look towards Tamacti, looking down at the fleet. This will take some time.
We never expected it to be easy.
Well, it was not. We lost too many here. I hope the werewolves will agree to their deal and come. Otherwise, we are fucked.
We have held up our end of that deal.
I nod.
And then it's not long before a mixture of slaves and crewmen together start to row down low and back the ships off away from the shore, and start to get them moving along the river towards Talstar, or not along the river. Sorry, along the side of Astoya towards that river. It'll probably be, it'll be probably 2 days of travel, maybe a day and a half actually. So like the first night of Dark Rain is when you guys would arrive at the spout or the mouth of that river.
Althematic.
Yeah.
Going up river into the heart of darkness.
That's right.
Something that I always think of when I look at the map, I don't know if you guys ever noticed this, but like if you just take everything from the Gray Spine Mountains eastward, it kind of looks like a picture of a heart, like an actual human heart.
Yeah. You know what? True.
Oh,
I've thought of that every single time that I've seen it since the first time I've seen it.
you're
or,
right.
or a hand grenade.
It's the heart of Etheris.
It's
Yeah,
pretty
well,
sweet.
it's
If
about
that
the
was something that
fucking
was planned, it's like the coolest thing ever. If it
Yeah.
wasn't planned, like, and one of the Grim Hollow people is like listening to us right now, hey, that's sick. You did well.
Yeah, you should say it was planned though.
Yeah, definitely, 100%.
And sponsor us.
and
Johns.
and so nothing violent happens the next couple days while you guys are traveling. If you if unless you guys have anything else to do, that's something else that we can kind of time skip, and we will actually almost then be caught up with the A
How
side.
sick.
That's exciting.
After how many weeks in the making of this one? I forgot.
10 weeks.
Well, more than that because
Wow.
we didn't play some weeks. So
Well, yeah, I mean 10 recorded weeks, I guess.
yeah, there you go.
Feels like it's been 3 months.
I think it has been.
Yeah, it has. It's been 3 months since we've been live, so yeah, it has been. The cool part about that is like I said, nothing violent happens amongst the ships. Weasel, talks to you guys a couple of times, and Imric and Tabe probably visit your guys' ship here and there. So yeah, Imric and Tabe kind of visit your ships here and there. Tabe says to Tamacti one of the days. By the way, Weasel is the one kind of piloting the ship now.
Good.
He's the next one. He's next up.
So if someone were to worship Moriel amongst the clan Limgri, would it be okay if they speak to you from time to time? There are a couple questions going on amongst my ship, but everyone's a bit timid to speak to a seraph. I knew you before you were a seraph, so...
Of course. I am the same Tamacti. No one need feel timid. Any questions they have, they are free to bring to me.
It wouldn't be a bother at all?
Not at all. I welcome it, in fact.
In fact...
In fact.
Oh, okay. That's it. That's all you're going to say.
Yes.
Sure. Well then, I will. I'll get back to my ship, and
Tabe,
so much has changed the last couple of weeks. Not in the north. The north is still the same, I'm sure. Everyone up there is still warring the Kandar and the Thrall, but here amongst these ships, I don't know. It's almost like we're all still our clans, but it's like we're a new people almost. We have slaves amongst us. We have Northmen eating alongside slaves,
us alongside free men.
and alongside all the other clans that would typically be warring with one another. It's the start of something new. It feels like.
How is everyone taking it?
Limgri, from all that I've spoken to, doesn't seem to mind a whole lot, actually. We weren't very big on slavery to begin with. I haven't spoken much to Seer or Volgar. I can't imagine that Rune seems too bothered by it, but it definitely is a change of pace. It's a new form of exercise for all of us, that's for sure.
Indeed. I am always here if you need me, Tabe. I may be busy in the coming days and weeks, so I may not be able to seek you out. But if you ever have need of me, I am here.
I appreciate it, Tamacti.
Of course. And please, again, do tell your clan members they are free to talk to me whenever they like.
I will do just that.
Oh, one more question I had. Those, prisoners you all kept, the ones that were supposed to be the shock troops.
Mm-hmm.
You remember the ones?
Yes, the captives.
Yes, the one that had all the tattoos of the various faiths.
Yes.
What happened to him?
He's still around. He's on our ship.
Is he still a captive?
There's kind of a moment of thought about like what the answer to that means, to Tabe. Like I suppose he hasn't really thought about it a whole lot, you know.
I understand that they were not necessarily slaves, but prisoners held for crimes within the North. I am merely curious of their current lot in life, so to speak.
He is still a captive. He will be one likely until the day that he expires.
I see. Perhaps now that I have seemingly proven myself to Clan Limgree, I may be allowed to speak with him. Last time I was somewhat rebuffed.
I don't see why they wouldn't allow it. I personally would be okay with this, but I don't speak for the clan. Of course.
Of course.
I'm just merely, in this instance, a messenger.
You are so much more than that, Tabe.
You flatter me. But I have to be humble.
Indeed.
How else will I ever become a serf? He kind of like gives you a nudge with his elbow.
Right. I give him a look like, bro, you don't know what you're asking for.
Either way, Aphelion has a plan, and we'll see all of this through, I'm sure. Dark Rain is coming.
Indeed. There is much to prepare for.
And he turns, makes his way over to the other side of the ship, where Imric is standing around, kind of waiting for him, so they can venture back to the other ship. And coming away from this scene, at some other point during the travels, probably, just as you guys are half a day away from, so a day of sailing, about half a day away from the spout of the river, Weasel approaches Gabriel.
All right.
Somebody else is steering the ship for the moment, unless, yeah.
And I like to say that I've been downstairs for a few hours on these 2 days rowing with the boys.
Yeah.
I gotta show that we all do our part now.
Mm-hmm. And probably that's where Weasel finds you, and he looks. He gets all the way down there, and he looks around, and it's a lot better lit down here now that everyone's down there, and all those changes have been made. Like
now that it's actual humans staying there, or people that are considered so.
Yeah. And he kind of like cranes his head, like standing on his tiptoes as he's looking around, and he spots you, and he makes his way over and puts a hand on your shoulder.
I look up.
Gabriel.
Weasel.
Stop rowing for a bit.
I stop. I stand up.
I'd like to speak to you about something.
Certainly. Outside or here?
Outside. Some fresh air.
I nod, and I step out with him, follow him.
Mm-hmm. He leads you up the stairs, passes by Mother Ishka, gives her a nod as you guys pass by the
I avoid Mother Ishka's eyes.
And he leads you up to the stairs to go up to the surface. And then once there, he leads you towards the front of the ship, where the serpent figurehead is.
I go there.
Rubin would be spending most of the days at the front of the ship.
Then you're both there, probably. And with a curt nod and a wave as he approaches, if you're facing away from him, then he waits until he can slap you on the back once.
And as he kind of gets slapped, it's clear he was in sort of a trance, deep thought, and turns to look over his shoulder to who did it, and sees it's Weasel, and he's like, all right, and looks back out to the sea.
It's just that we've all been busy. I wanted to check in with both of you, see how you're doing, how you're holding up.
I look to Rubin, though he can't see me because he's looking ahead. Well, I cannot speak for Rubin, but I am fine. The boat is quiet, but I expected as much. Other than that, I've been trying to help downstairs as much as I can. Anxious to get to Talistar.
What do you expect to find there? I have to say, I'm nervous for Dark Rain as a whole. I've never been in the Middlelands for one.
Well, I expect death, if I am truthful. But I am not the optimistic of this group.
Nor am I.
I believe only Tamacti is. Before he came, it was a gloomy duo.
Yes. It's been a long time coming, this journey, arrival at Talistar.
Hopefully when we get to Talistar, the other allies I have secured will be there to help us. Especially with our thin numbers now.
What exactly takes you there? Why this place? It's not even marked on the maps.
It is a place of legends. Old stories speak of Talastar as the origin of this lich, and many things that followed with him, including the witch hunters.
Right. I don't know much of that history. That's, I suppose, more for the Lord Edda. But
It is mostly Ostoyan legends, I suppose. Your land would not tell them. But yes, there are, apparently, there are many things that are going to Talastar, or converging there on this dark reign. We will be there to see it. If it is to be the opposing forces, we will kill them there or die trying.
the list is, I suppose, kind of growing. So for our listeners that I'm not going to spoil the things that are from the A side, but for our listeners who have been listening to both sides, those werewolves from the north are supposed to meet there, as well as the party is being drawn there. Gabriel has his own personal reasons for being there. Rubin, in the past, perhaps not now, had a very personal reason for being there.
Mhm.
And also that's kind of where his family line, like Rourke Olsen, or not Rourke Olsen. Wait, yeah, is from
The first.
the first witch hunter, and as well as Gabriel's line, Seamus Farron is also from Talstar, but he has other, like I said, other reasons for being there. And on the A side, there is a certain individual that is already on his way there, and
Stazriel?
I don't know,
Uh-huh.
but a lot of stuff is kind of converging here. And,
Indeed.
so it's going to be interesting to see. But anyway, so Weasel's there with you, and he's sort of like drumming his fingers along the edge of the front of the ship. Do you think there will be a fight there?
I am always expecting a fight. Just like when we killed that little puppet, I was expecting more of one. And if there is no fight, it will be a pleasant surprise for once in my life.
Do either of you know what kind of beasts there are in the Middlelands?
I shake my head.
We
We have encountered a few things on our way to Fallowheart, but not too many.
in the north we have trolls and giants and some giants that wander amongst the men, but other feral ones that are not of the people. And archwolves and these things, primordials, they are whipped into a frenzy, the ones that are not contained during Dark Reign. But I'm not familiar with what to expect here.
Well,
I-
go ahead.
Bats, werewolves, witches. The list is quite extensive. Shadows.
Well, and he pauses at that and kind of looks towards the sun again and back down.
Maybe not as much now. And if you can
Yes.
survive the North's climate along with trolls and other primordial, I am certain you will be fine.
But in the north we know what we're fighting, and we expect that we know how to counter it. But down here, I'm just not sure. I don't know. These bats, how big are they?
Quite large. I
What-
believe we met one that was tearing a horse apart.
He kind of like trails his eyes off to the side a little bit, in disbelief.
It was maybe 15 feet tall. I'm not sure.
If the maps are right, then we'll be hitting a dense forest about almost to where you say Talstar is, just past Malkovia.
I nod. The town is surrounded by thick woods. We will have to go through them. Unless Talastar is on the coast, but as I recall, it is not.
The ships will have to be single, at most double file.
I nod. A narrow river. We will have to make do. Can't we leave some of the ships behind now that our numbers are so dwindled?
I suppose that perhaps we could actually.
Once we are done, we can head back out into the ocean and collect them.
Yes, we could take half the ships.
Well then, Captain, something to bring to the others.
I think that's something to bring immediately to the others. And he he turns to leave you guys, unless you would stop.
Good. No, I gotta let the new Thorgrim take charge.
He turns to leave you guys, and he makes his way up for the wheel, and starts kind kind of like in the same way that Thorgrim did, where he brings up his hand, and you see him kind of hesitate for a moment, like the first time that he has had this responsibility. Brings up his hand to whistle, and he lets out like a high-pitched, ear-piercing whistle, and starts waving to the other ships, kind of like their gesture to halt. And slowly the ships start to raise their sails and coast to a stop. Like I said, you guys are now about half a day's travel from the spout or the mouth of the river. And I'm gonna save the kind of like talk about how that goes, because it's a fair point. It's 100% a fair point, and I think that nobody would debate it. And so clans that have been traveling with each other for weeks now and traveling on foot for days and kind of intermingling and stuff like that, they have no problem with making this change. And so the ships sort of pair up, and you see that, well, actually, yeah, there are 2 ships for every clan, so just be like everyone being, still the same clan on just fewer ships. And so you now have 6 ships that represent all of the different clans that are with you guys, which are Volgar, Seer, Rune, Mithra, Limgri, and the merchants, the free merchants. And so everyone is now doubled up, and you now have 6 ships, and the other 6 are anchored down
in the bay over there or whatever.
Yeah, in the bay, about a day away from east of Malkovia, about a day away from the mouth of this river.
Sounds good.
Good idea.
And I will make sure to let Weasel present this like it was his own idea. Tell him to do so even.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, now you guys have more manpower per ship, which is a safer ship generally, and everyone is still amongst their own clans, and you have fewer ships to worry about, and all around it.
Indeed,
a good suggestion actually.
Yeah, I'm somewhat of a sailor.
I'm somewhat of a sailor myself.
So that now that these ships are kind of doubled up, and you have 6 now and 6 are left at the bay, it's only half a day until Darkrain, which means it's about midday on the 37th of Stivos. Is there anything at all that you guys would do during this time, being a half a day left until it's go time?
I would like to attend to the souls of my three freeman friends.
Attend to the souls of them.
Yeah, they're fucked a bit.
Okay.
I want to speak to them at length about belief.
Okay.
See where they stand on it.
If it's cool, then before we do that, we're gonna take another 5 really quick. We're back, and we come back to Tamacti. I'm gonna say that this is now happening just 2 hours before Darkrain officially starts. Actually, we're pushing the boundaries here. I'm gonna say 30 minutes before Darkrain starts.
Oh,
you guys,
great Google.
you guys can see the river spout on the horizon, and Belfour and Sasha and Lanya are all sort of downstairs, just kind of like the second floor, just kind of like all sitting against the wall, like back to the wall, just sitting down, talking, hanging out.
I'll walk down there and grab a LaCroix out of the fridge, crack it open, sit down next to him.
Okay.
Lanya, Sasha, Balfour.
They all kind of say in unison, Tamacti.
I sort of do that like old man like thing. As
Hold your back.
Yeah. As I get down on the floor.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, I wanted to speak to the 3 of you personally before it's too late, frankly.
Before it's too late. Before what's too late? That's what Lanya says.
We are about to enter Darkrain, which means that I cannot personally guarantee the safety of anyone. I do not know what is coming. And frankly, I fear that should any of the 3 of you fall in battle, I fear that your souls would be damned to eternity.
Tamacti, my hands are clean. My conscience is clear.
Your conscience may be clean. I don't know how to put this other than take a look at me for proof that there is divinity in this world. There is a great cosmic scale, ever tipping out of balance, ever trying to right itself. Too much weight to one side or the other, and chaos reigns. I am not asking you all to worship my God. I am not asking you all to worship anything. Just to consider my words and to consider your actions with perhaps the slightest hint of remorse for the pain that you caused.
Sasha, the smaller of the males, the two males, kind of like rests his legs are out in front of him, knees bent upward a little bit, rests his elbows on his knees and kind of cranes forward a little bit to look down the line towards you. Tamacti, you have to understand that our whole lives we were slaves. From when we were young, little kids. If whatever divinity would chastise us for ridding ourselves of the people that did that to us, then I fear that we made the right choice. Because I would rather be damned than to think that the arch-serfs are that. I don't know.
It is not the action itself, and not even the why itself, but whether you like it or not, what you did was in the direct service of an archdemon. The same archdemon, in fact, that, well, just recently, I believe orchestrated the chaotic death of hundreds, if not thousands, of people in the town of Castellor. A creature so vile and so repugnant, it feeds off the very essence of pain, suffering, and death. I understand, rather I try to understand, that you spent your entire lives being subjugated, beaten, and belittled. But our lives are not defined by what others do to us, but rather what we do to others. And that is all I have to say on the matter. I will leave the three of you in peace.
Lanya, kind of like probably the closest sitting to you, puts her hand on your kind of like shin as you're sitting down before you get up.
Tamacti, we appreciate it. We really do. You've done much for us, and your continued thought for our well-being, present and future, it's heartwarming. But I don't know. I think that this is whoever we made those murders in the name of, it was not for them, but it was for us, regardless of whether or not what it looks like. And that's what I believe in. Perhaps the actions from now until the day that I die will make up for any of that, but there's plenty of time, and I don't need to repent just now.
I grab her hands.
Will you at least believe in me?
Tamacti, she kind of like blushes a little bit, looks to the others.
All three of us believe in you.
Her eyes lock with yours for a moment.
I give a terse nod, let go of her hands, and then stand up.
Mm-hmm. And
you should prepare. There is not much time left. The darkness will soon be upon us.
The largest, Belthor, he's like twice as wide as all of them, like a foot taller than all of them, very, very muscular. He nods a couple times.
Don't worry, we're ready. And the axes have been ready too.
The what have been ready?
The axes.
Oh, okay.
The X's?
Yes. Don't think that we're just going to roll over and let them kill us, whatever's out there. If the top deck needs us, and if anyone else needs us, we'll be here, or up there, and we'll be alongside them. I and the others understand now that we are all one in this.
Good. Then I shall see you above deck when the time comes.
They don't say anything else, but they kind of hold their eyes with yours for a moment before just kind of going back to a conversation.
All right, well then I'll head back up.
And as you are coming up to the top of the deck, it's about 15 minutes now. Like you can see the two blue moons eclipsing with the sun as it's like just on the horizon, off, to the west. So pretty much Yeah, so as you come up, you see that the two blue moons, Acreon and Sirion, are just now starting to eclipse. They will be fully eclipsed within the next 15 minutes, and Strider just had to step away, but we'll go ahead and say that he's the Gabriel is up top on the ship. It seems like where he would probably be, and is Rubin up there too?
Yeah, that's kind of where he's been. Like I said, past whenever they started. Obviously, he goes down to sleep but he spends whatever free time he's got, like sat on the front rail of like the ship right before the what do you call that? The thing that juts out forward.
The figurehead.
Yeah. Sat next to that.
Okay.
And just like legs dangling over the side, staring out to wherever they're going.
So then, Tamacti, you as you come up here, and it's like it's much darker than it should be right now because of the eclipsing. Like I said, the eclipse is not complete, but both of these two blue moons will align with this sun on the horizon, and and so you make your way up there in the partial darkness to find, probably at the figurehead, Rubin and Gabriel.
I walk up to them both.
Evening, Tamacti. Or midday, I'm not really sure.
It will be night soon enough.
And he nods, and seem to already be staring towards where this eclipsing is happening.
I noticed back on the shores near Castelor, you tried to cast a spell, but it did not work.
You did.
Well, you weaved the signs. Nothing happened.
And he offered a little bit of a nod. It seems that, well, almost all of my ability to use magic is gone.
I see. Well, before I was redefined, so to speak, I was in the process of learning a bit of practical magic from Mother Ishka. I'd be happy to show you some of my notes if you would gain some use of them, or if you would like to speak to me more on the subject of my perspective on the divine. I would be more than happy to do so.
And what is your perspective on the divine?
Someone that was risen up, cast down, and then has risen up again. Someone that has learned to set aside the heart and anger of betrayal to find courage, sacrifice, and humility.
And he gives a little bit of a nod. Thank you, by the way, for saving me. I know it's said it once, but I do appreciate it.
I would have done it for anyone. Please.
Of that I have no doubt. And I give you my word, I will not be following demons anymore.
That makes me very, very happy to hear. You have no idea. I just had a rather disappointing conversation with three of my Freeman friends that did not turn out how I had hoped on largely the same subject.
Unfortunately, though, they seem to be following me.
Well, perhaps then you might speak to them.
I don't have any wish to speak to them. It's the same thing. Power. Someone else's power can be taken away in a moment's notice.
Indeed. I too know what you are feeling rather acutely. I had wings ripped from my back and was quite literally thrown from heaven. It feels as if part of you is missing. You will find your way of that, I am sure. Myself and Gabriel will help you.
May I ask you something, Tamacti?
Of course.
What did you do to get downcast?
Since the death of the gods, the arch-seraphs who have risen to take their place have, some of them anyway, deviated in their teachings, some more so than others. I, after after the death of the gods, chose to follow Imperius, who for a time, he was a just and righteous leader. However, he and his followers began to become too, I don't know. They became zealots. They believed that their cause was a righteous one and began to seek out heresy, for lack of a better term. They did so without compassion, without grace. I began to question this, perhaps even began to organize against it. My organization was betrayed by one I trusted, and I do not know what happened to the others, but I myself was pruned and cast down. That is what I did.
Rubin kind of falls into silence again, still staring towards the eclipse as its progress furthers.
Tamacti will similarly stare into the eclipse, not saying anything.
Mm-hmm. And Gabriel has just been kind of not paying attention in meditation this whole time. Does he?
Yeah, it makes sense.
Does he come out of that at all, Strider, or? What does he do?
Probably not.
Okay.
Maybe 5 minutes before something, right
Okay.
before it hits.
It's now about, I'd say 7 minutes before you guys are at the throat of the river, and also 7 minutes until the eclipse is fully there. I mean, you can't really, it's not like you're looking at your watch and you're like, all right, 7 minutes, but like, you know it's almost time.
Yeah.
As you're looking out on the horizon and seeing it, like, these two moons kind of shifting together in line with the sun on the western horizon. And you guys will be kind of floating right into it pretty much. And you hear a shout from Weasel, who's on the helm. Torches! Torches, light them up! And you see like every 10 feet along the edges, like roped to the sides of the ship on the railing, but away from like any ropes or anything that would be flammable, you see these torches getting lit. And so all 6 of the ships are in line as they're funneling into this river, with these ships or with these torches like beacons on the sides of them to, allow everyone to see everything on the surface of the ship, because there's no more daylight for
This is so sick.
quite some time. And
Yeah.
Tamacti is
for-
going to cast dancing lights and center a globe hovering over the shoulder of each of his 2 friends,
okay.
just in case these torches go out.
Mm-hmm. And finally, the last sliver of sunlight on the horizon is snuffed out, and it's almost like a sudden change. There's no heavy reverberation or thump or anything like that. Like that signals that it's officially dark rain, but it's been a long time that this rotation has been nearing the sun, and finally, the literal stars have aligned basically, and it's dark rain. And it's almost like this moment where you guys, the ship that you're on is the first one going into the funnel, and it's like, oh, wait, that's it? That's dark rain? And you hear a shriek in the distance from who knows what, and then you hear another and another, until you can hear, like, for what sounds like a mile away, just like these shrieks just popping up, and screams and howls and roars from the things that had always been in hibernation or just not active during the daytime, or hidden up in the trees or in their caves or wherever. And all of a sudden, it's just something is kind of pushing them or urging them to be a little bit more active. You make your way into the river, and the howls die down, and the shrieks start to die down, and all the Northmen that are atop the ships, they're armed with like spears, and you can see a couple of them are a little bit nervous, others are a little bit more stalwart. No one directly next to the sides of the ships, but that's kind of like the appearance that you see. And the sails are brought up entirely, and all you can hear is the lapping of the oars as they're brought up and slapped back into the water, and brought up and slapped back into the water. The bottom of the ship might be the safest place to be right now.
Hell no, I'm that guy, right up at front, right on the edge.
Rubin is, in fact, quite literally sitting on the edge.
Yeah.
We're from these parts, we're from these joints, we've been here.
Mm-hmm. I think that for the first 30 minutes, maybe even an hour that you guys are going along this river, and it'll be, let's measure this out. The speed is reduced
Oh
a
my
little bit.
god.
Speed is reduced a little bit because you're in such a confined
This is
area.
gonna take so long.
Oh no.
Oh, and just
Please.
need to measure something real quick. Hold on.
Always it's the benchmark.
No, we're good. We're good. It's only like
No, but we just did a lot of boat look because we did
yeah.
we came from where over here and then like fucking.
Oh yeah, dude. 13 miles. That's nothing.
No, that's not 30.
No,
That's 225.
That's
Oh, 225. Oh,
100.
yeah. Okay,
It's
so that's
174. Okay.
that's a Grabenstein and a half.
I think that you guys, because it's a day and night kind of thing that's going on, we'll give it 5 days that you guys will probably be on these ships. Actually, we'll give it 4 days that you guys will be on the ships. I'm gonna kind of buff the speed just a little bit because I don't want all of Dark Rain to be on the water.
Mm-hmm.
Because
I need off these
the
boats.
others, as I mentioned before, they're still in their first like 24 hours of Dark Rain, and it's been 3 sessions now.
We're gonna be ahead.
And I think things are gonna slow down, but we'll see. We've had a lot of time skipping the last couple sessions, but things might slow down a little bit. So the first hour goes by. If you guys at any point want to make any check, you're welcome to do so. I will not be asking for any.
I am just so you're aware, vigilantly checking my sign,
Oh,
which I do still have. I think.
you do. Sorry, I was drinking some water. I think that about an hour into the sailing, if you guys have just been quiet or just kept to yourselves, it's not shining quite through your armor, so you know what level that is. But you feel a warmth on your chest.
Neck.
Yeah, neck. Sorry, I was thinking. About
Yeah, I know what you're saying. As soon as Rubin starts feeling the warmth, I'm gonna go ahead and roll. Can I roll like a perception?
Absolutely.
Awesome. An 18.
An 18. As you're looking around, you're like, the river is about, we'll say, about 50 feet wide. So pretty wide river. But the boats are about 20 feet wide in themselves. So like you have about 15 feet from each side of the ship to the land. So not a very far swim for any creature that would try and make it through. But you're looking to the right side, and you're scanning, the open fields that are there and sparse trees. You're not quite in the thicket of the forest yet. That's not until past Malkovia. But you're scanning to the right, and you don't see anything. And you're scanning to the left, and you don't see anything. Your eyes kind of trail upwards towards the sky, like a arching sort of like, a rainbow kind of motion. And then you bring your head down to look down by the side of the ship, and you can see, like, swimming through the water, these figures that you can only see their silhouettes, but there are 2 of them. One to the right side of the ship, like just ahead of the figurehead, and one to the left side, just ahead of the figurehead. And they're just swimming in like wide, sort of serpent-like motions, kind of like eels. But they're not serpent or eel-like in silhouette. They're kind of a little humanoid, and their arms are just by their sides as they're moving along with the ship.
And are Tamacti and Gabriel still both up here
Yeah.
at the front?
We've got company, it appears. To the left and right.
I take out my sword. I will take the right.
I'm not sure if they're going to climb aboard, but they are beside the ship.
Well, if they do, we should be ready.
Tamacti unslings his rifle from his shoulder and checks to make sure it's loaded.
Mm-hmm. Probably is.
It always is.
Yeah.
But he checks anyway.
Yeah.
Rubin's gonna scoot his self off of the rail onto the main deck and plant his feet.
Okay. Looking down at these figures, probably. You don't notice it at first. Your tensions, I don't know, it's up to you guys, of course, but if your tensions were high, they start to feel a little bit relaxed, a little bit soothed. I need you guys to make for me.
I don't like that.
I would like to if I can, really quick.
Go ahead.
I want to cast protection from good and evil, or evil and good upon myself.
Okay.
Damn, can't cast that as an AoE, green motherfucker. Okay, I see you.
I can't, no.
I see you.
I immediately went to my spell book and spelled nothing, and I'm like, oh fuck.
Fucked. Well, what are we rolling, Chef? A wisdom save?
I'm gonna ask for a charisma save.
Oh, worth. I'm boned. See you guys in the next one.
Rubin
I
with
have, I have minus
22.
1.
Is this-
Gabriel with an 11.
Is this to be charmed or frightened?
This is... I think technically it's charmed, yeah.
Are they aberrations, celestials, elementals, fae, fiends, and or undead?
They are one of those.
No. I will not be rolling.
No.
Thank you.
Yeah, because it's protection from good and evil. It doesn't.
Okay, that's sweet. Then, Tamacti, you start to see the... like, you hear it before you see it, sorry. You hear a thud on the top of the ship deck. And Rubin, you hear this too, and Gabriel, your eyes start to feel heavy.
Damn, I'm sleepy.
But you hear a thud behind you guys on the ship, and then another on the surface.
Oh no. Over. Are people just falling?
Yeah, one of them is like his arm is drooped over the edge of the railing and then like collapses all the way down onto the floor. It's now 3 people on the top deck that are sleeping, and you can see Weasel, like his head nodding at the helm.
Oh,
And
Do I fall down too?
and Gabriel falls down too, right next to you guys.
Tamacti, shoot one of them.
Tamacti.
Shoot me.
No, not
Yeah,
them.
Tamacti will line up a shot on Gabriel's chrome dome.
Put one in me.
He was clearly pointing down to the 2 creatures in the water.
Just so that he's sure he can't miss, he's going to sort of imbue a bit of aether energy into it and turn the shot into a magic shot, so it'll be magic missile.
Okay.
So it's just it's not going to do as much damage, but you just see like sort of doesn't even really, the rifle doesn't crack, it doesn't recoil, it's sort of like a purple lancing energy just sort of erupts from the barrel and tracks across the river, thudding into the body of one of these humanoid creatures.
Okay. And as it like slaps, like sort of torpedoes in through the water, there's like hardly even a splash from it, you know, because it's just like so swift and so directional that it just there's like a little sort of boop as like the water sort of pops up and then pops back down, and you see like the small sort of explosion of it slamming into the side of this figure, and the gentle light that illuminates the magic missile shot as it's going into the water. You can see like scales and like clawed hands, and there's like a sharp sort of screech that only now do you notice that there was a gentle sort of lull or a lullaby or singing of some sort that has just been disrupted, and it's back to like sort of complete silence as this figure streaks off in the ahead of the ship, and the other one sort of follows alongside it, behind it, and they leave the head of the ship, and Rubin's sign begins to feel colder, Rubin, on your neck, till it is just normal now. It's like normal skin. And
In the meantime, as he's sure that they've at the very least swam away, you know, maybe not gone, but they're no longer directly beside the ship, he's going to move over towards Gabriel and try to wake him up, like violently shake him.
yeah, that's what I was trying to debate with myself, is whether or not everyone would wake up right away. I think not. I think it's a lasting kind of effect, so you guys would have to manually wake everyone up.
I'm going to fly over then to Weasel.
Go on the other ships.
I don't want him to fall asleep at the wheel and crash us into the bank.
If you want that same music playing, by the way, it's going to be in 2B in case you want to play it solo.
Oh, I gotta turn that down.
But sorry. What did you say you're doing, Tamacti?
I'm waking Weasel up so he doesn't crash us.
Yeah. And he's like nodding off, and he like waves a hand, sort of like to you as you're shaking him or whatever you're doing. And I'm so tired.
You have to wake up. I sort of give him
But it's nighttime.
a slap on the face.
He's like kind of like blinks his eyes a couple times and is sort of coming to, and his eyes like lull again, and his head drifts off. And then he kind of shoots awake and... What? What's happening?
You have to wake up.
I'm awake. What was that?
Sirens or something, I'm not sure. Don't worry about it. They're gone for now.
Wake up the others. He like points down at the ship where like some of the others are just like slumped down.
I shake my head. I need to check on the other ships. And then Tamacti's gonna take to the air.
Okay.
And fly one by one to the other ships, make sure that they're not suffering similar fates, or if they are, assist whoever he can.
They are not. You notice with the second ship that the effect probably didn't last that far. But had your guys' ship kind of collided with the side of the river, it probably would have meant that the whole river would have been blocked up.
Yep. All right. Well, seeing that the ship right behind us isn't affected, Tamacti will probably just wheel back around and land back on the deck.
Mm-hmm. I assume Gabriel's woken up after being violently shaken.
Probably, yeah.
Okay. And then
I just swat your hand away. I'm awake.
Good. Help me wake the others.
and he immediately steps off to like move to the next person down the line.
Yeah, I'll do the same with the others. On the starboard side, which I believe is the right side.
Yes, it is. Weasel is kind of like huffing as you guys are sort of waking everyone up. He's a little bit panicked. It hasn't even been an hour. We're not even an hour down the river.
And it will not get better. Get used to this.
What are those things? Did you see it?
I shake my head. I do not know.
No, Prowler.
Mm-hmm.
Am I aware in any way what the fuck those were?
They in the book.
I'm saying off the top of my head. I haven't looked at, like, obviously Rubin hasn't looked in his book yet.
I think that off the top of your head, you would probably associate them with some sort of like just sort of like household song that you might have heard as a kid, like growing up with Speaker Core, and they don't have a name that you know of. Like everyone kind of calls them different sort of things, like singers or like songbirds or sirens or water witches. A bunch of different things, and in the song that you recall, they were called water witches.
Ah, okay. So then, that's what he's just gonna call them. Reply,
water witches. I think the legend is they lull you asleep and eat you.
Not something from the north, that's for sure.
No, it is not. Most things in the north will just face you head on. These are more deceitful, as is the nature of this fucking land.
He kind of like curses the name of the Estonian Empire underneath his breath and
facts. Me too.
The side of the ship.
I hate him too.
Hey, bro, I'm from here.
me and my homies fucking hate Estonia.
I only like one person. He would put the one on his hand, and that's Halifax.
What?
Not even Rylon, not Tamacti.
Tamacti would look hurt.
They're angels. They don't count.
But anyway, so as like you still see for a couple minutes, like after this, Weasel is like shaking his head and like rubbing his eyes and stuff like that. Like he's awake, but it's still kind of like a lasting groggy effect that he has to deal with, as well as you, Gabriel, probably.
Yeah.
And as you guys finish waking up the last person at the on the ship, one of the torches goes out at the front.
Oh, great.
And as this torch goes out, you see a light beaming from Rubin's neck, like through his little chain coif and his helmet.
I look towards Rubin with like an eye. I was like, "What the fuck does that mean?"
Nothing good.
And
I take out my sword.
And Rubin's also gonna grab something from his belt and just kind of like wait as he's like approaching towards where the torch had gone out.
Same.
Should I roll another perception or?
I'd say you probably don't need a perception to see that the torch is going out. And by the means that it's going out, I don't think that you'll need one, because you see kind of like the front of the ship. You know how if the light at the front of the ship goes out, the secondary light, like the one that's 10 feet behind it, kind of would still have enough dim illumination to like show you the front of the ship. You can't see the front of the ship.
Oh my
It's
god.
like shrouded in a darkness.
Unnaturally dark.
And you see kind of like a glowing, long, like clawed hand about the size of somebody's head, sort of crest over the railing at the front of the ship, and then pulling up on the other side. So like this is to the right of the figurehead from your perspective, and from the left of the figurehead rises up 2 large glowing red eyes. And
I immediately go for the hand.
And as he's doing this, I fucking hurl a vial of lumen at it.
okay, it's interesting. And so you go to slash at this hand, and Rubin throws this vial of lumen, and Gabriel, you are shaken.
Dead and
you are
consumed.
no, you are shaken awake by Rubin.
Oh, it was a dream.
Told you guys.
Ah, this motherfucker! He's doing it again!
You got me.
This is the shit! This
Dude,
is
it's been
the
like
shit.
25 sessions since you've done this. I forgotten. I pick up with my hand on my sword, like on the hilt, as I stand up.
I forgot he did this shit.
Yeah.
Then I look at you, Rubin, as you're the only one ahead of me. Fuck.
You alright?
I nod. Bad dream.
Well, help me wake everyone else up.
And
No.
he immediately steps off.
And I go to do what I did again before in my dream and start waking the others. And I'm in a constant loop now. I never know if I'm really in a dream.
Yeah, right.
Welcome to my life, dude.
And as you guys are doing this, everyone wakes up and we go through all the same motions. Like,
If fucking I was gonna say if Weasel asks the same question, I make the same exact, like the conversation goes exactly the same as it did in my dream.
Yeah, he's living Groundhog Day right now.
This is the same thing over and over.
you know, we go through the whole thing that you guys just went through, where you're shaking everyone awake and Weasel's being woken up. We're not gonna go through it again. We'll just say like
Water witches, blah, blah, blah.
everything.
Literally
yeah.
the same thing happens.
Yeah, everything the same happens. And you guys find yourselves on the ship, and things are oddly quiet now, and there aren't a ton of waves. You know, there aren't any waves in this river. It's just gentle, sort of rhythmic rowing. There's no one even chanting downstairs. Everyone's just kind of doing it in beat because they know, you know, what beat's going on, and things are smooth for the time being.
Yeah, back to the front of the ship, post on the rail, and looking out for more shit. You know, he's not looking too far out to the sides, just kind of near the coast, the water, and above them.
Is there a crow's nest on this ship?
There is a crow's nest on every ship. Yes.
Okay, cool. I'm gonna go up that one, relieve whoever's on top, tell them that you can go rest downstairs, and I'll keep an eye around like far while Rubin's looking like really close to us. I'll just be looking out far for any, especially flying creatures that may be coming.
Mm-hmm. Then, as you make your way up to the crow's nest, and Rubin is up at the front of the ship, where's Tamacti? Is he staying up there with Weasel, or is he?
Yeah, I'm gonna stay by Weasel, make sure nothing happens to him.
Okay. Yeah, because the back could swoop right down and peel him right off.
I feel responsible for Weasel.
There are a couple other Northmen up there too, like one in the back, like looking off the back left of the ship, and one in like kind of the front right by the stairs that look out towards the right side of the ship. And as you guys are all kind of forming into these positions, and Gabriel makes his way up top, you didn't hear them before, Gabriel, and you didn't see them before, because there's like foliage that's lining the edges of the water, like, you know, cattails and stuff like that. But you see in gentle silhouettes, kind of jogging alongside the sides of the ship, these humanoid figures that are very lanky, with long arms and long legs and no clothes on, and like these long sort of slithering tongues like dangling from their jagged, toothy mouths, and they have pale gray skin. These, you know, there's at least 4 of them on each side of the ship, just kind of like jogging alongside it, watching it. And you think to yourself probably that, I mean, it's fair that if they're jogging along the front or the sides of the first ship, there's probably something else alongside at least one of the other ships. But you don't see any of them like trying to swim to the ship or anything like that. So, you know, technically for now you're safe, I guess. But this is something that you notice.
God damn.
And it's not just like everything is hunting humans at this time. You guys have had a few Dark Reigns under your belt, some more than others, and
they kill each other too.
They kill each other too, yeah. Like wolves will fight, whatever else. Wolves will fight bats, and it's all just like the normal circle of life sort of stuff. Like
just cranked up to 11.
Just cranked up to 11, yeah. everything is just more active, a little bit more irritable, agitated, active in general. And as all this is happening, I think here, because we're having these weird bot issues, is where I'm gonna call an end for this session.
Shit!
It's not a huge cliffhanger or anything like that, but
For once.
but things
Yeah.
I think are going to. I mean, I know for a fact things are going to heat up a little bit on Dark Rain. Going to be a lot of on the ship combat.
Yeah, this is really starting to give me vibes of earlier in the campaign, like back in the B-Rock,
Yeah.
traveling on that road.
Mm-hmm. And so that's where we're going to bring it under this session. And we thank you guys, the listeners, for hanging out. With the next episode 11B, we are going to officially have our first full session in Dark Rain. And so everything is going to be planned around Dark Rain. You know, I have a lot of stuff to consider, like the sort of faith sort of mindset of some of the people on the ship and how that will apply and what sort of beasts Rubin might know of and all this stuff that I need to kind of consider. And so it'll give me some time. And the next session is going to be a real banger. But like I said, thanks for being here. If you are not following us on social media yet, we encourage you to go do it. We're on Twitter, we're on Instagram. Links will be in the description to this pod. If you follow us on, or if you listen to us on YouTube, you can subscribe to us there. And if you liked what you heard from this session or any other session, you know, we're almost at 20 uploaded sessions, which is kind of crazy. Then please, by all means, pop us a review, slide us some feedback. If you want to give us personalized feedback, like straight up in a DM, join us on Discord. Talk to us on there. That'll also be in the Linktree description below. And lastly, we want to thank our Patreon supporters for all of the generous financial support that they've given us. It helps pay for our additional art. It helps pay for our advertising. It helps pay for our giveaways, things like that. Lets us know that we're really doing something right and really entertaining people. Thank you to our Patreon subscribers, our Patreon, our party fiends, Xeno and Stags, our party monsters, Cypher, Rook, and Happy Phoenix, our party person Hop, and our party lurkers Valentine, Blundig, and Window Man. Thank you all for your generous support. And we have a personalized message from one of our players, or one of our Patreon subscribers, that was requested in the voice of Rubin. And Rubin, hopefully you remember what it is by now.
I do.
So for Rookshaw,
Born to shit, forced to wipe.
and once again, thank you for your continued support. If you are a Patreon subscriber and you want to take advantage of any of your benefits, then please reach out to me and get that sorted out. We'd be glad to show you our appreciation. But all that being said, that's all from us. And like always, never split the party. We'll catch you next time. See ya.
See ya, party people.